Colin is on the sofa with a cup of tea when Penelope comes out of the bedroom. He tells her he didn't sleep well and plans to go to the Bridgerton house for breakfast. Penelope reminds him that her mother is visiting and he offers to leave to give them privacy. She says he doesn't have to go, but he insists. As he leaves, Ray informs Penelope that she has a visitor in a drawing room. Penelope asks Ray to serve tea as she's not ready yet. Penelope goes to the drawing room expecting her mother but finds Cressida instead. Cressida says she's there to see Lady Whistledown. Penelope denies it and asks her to leave, but Cressida says that she wants double the Queen's reward to keep quiet. If not, she'll expose Penelope as Lady Whistledown. Penelope doubts anyone will believe her due to her bad reputation. Portia enters and Cressida tells her about Penelope being Lady Whistledown before reiterating her demands and leaving. Portia demands the truth from Penelope, who confirms she is Lady Whistledown. Portia is upset, feeling betrayed by Penelope's writings that have harmed their family. Portia worries about Colin knowing the truth as it can lead to an annulment. Penelope insists she must tell Colin, and Portia knows Penelope won't be dissuaded and lets her go get dressed. Meanwhile, the Queen and Lady Danbury play chess. The Queen is confident she is close to uncovering Lady Whistledown. Lady Danbury questions what the Queen will do once she finds her. The Queen believes she will have won, but Lady Danbury suggests Lady Whistledown might just be trying to survive. They agree the game will be no fun if it ended too soon. Harry suggests getting a full wardrobe ready, and Philippa wonders if the warm weather explains why Albion isn't sneezing, to which Harry attributes it to their happy marriage. Prudence is unimpressed by their affection and wants to go home, feeling overshadowed now that Penelope is married. They decide to host the ball with Prudence focusing on purple and Philippa on orange, planning an extravagant event despite budget concerns. Francesca and Violet discuss the engagement, and Violet insists on being visible to counteract the Queen's suspicions. They plan a simple wedding at home before retreating to John's estate in Scotland, surprising Violet with the distance but understanding the appeal of peace and quiet. Eloise finds Colin sitting alone trying to forget recent events. She thinks their mother must be delighted that the Queen attended his wedding breakfast. Eloise reassures Colin that their family will be fine just as she survived being accused of being Lady Whistledown, though we're not without scars. She advises him not to let his marriage become a scar. He's surprised when Penelope and Portia arrive, and Penelope reveals that Portia knows about Cressida's threat. Penelope reveals that Portia knows about her being Lady Whistledown. She tells them about Cressida's threat, and Colin says they must stop Cressida from spreading rumours. Penelope insists she just wants to be honest with him, and Colin stresses that if Cressida talks, it will tarnish the Bridgerton name, and he won't tolerate his wife being blackmailed. Penelope offers to pay Cressida with her own money. Colin refuses, deciding he will talk to Cressida himself to prevent her from ruining them all. Lady Cowper and Cressida enter the room to see Colin. He asks to speak to Cressida alone, but Lady Cowper insists on it being a respectable household. Cressida dismisses her mother, who grants him 5 minutes. Colin realizes Lady Cowper is unaware of the blackmail. Cressida trusts no one but herself. Colin relates, knowing what it's like to feel alone, and Cressida dismisses his perspective on freedom, highlighting his privilege. Colin defends Penelope, explaining that her Whistledown Colin reflected the cruelty she felt, a cruelty Cressida knows well. Despite Cressida's actions, Penelope didn't attack her in the latest column, showing grace. She leaves, warning that Penelope has until the Dankworth Finch ball to pay up, or she'll reveal everything. Philippa and Prudence plan their ball, seeking Portia's financial help. Portia reminds them Penelope married a wealthy Bridgerton while they married untitled men. Prudence says Penelope will take care of her in old age, and Portia dismisses them, expecting a visitor. Mrs. Varley accompanies them, being resourceful with limited means. Penelope confides in Eloise, feeling her sisters relish her downfall. Eloise encourages positive thinking. Colin's determination worries Penelope, but Eloise hopes Cressida will be reasonable. Eloise admits she initially enjoyed Cressida's company, partly out of pettiness. Portia and Colin enter, with Colin admitting he worsened the situation, doubling Cressida's demands. Penelope lacks the funds, and Colin considers asking Benedict for money and will lie about what it's for to protect Penelope. Portia doubts Cressida's demands are reasonable, and Penelope regrets underestimating Cressida. Violet asks Lady Danbury if the Queen is relenting, and Lady Danbury hopes so and toasts to it with a strong Scottish drink. Violet is anxious about Francesca going to Scotland, but Lady Danbury reassures her. She offers Violet support in Francesca's absence, mentioning Marcus's support if needed. Violet is hesitant, but Lady Danbury insists they're adults capable of making their own choices. Violet appreciates Lady Danbury's friendship and trusts Marcus. Lady Danbury assures Violet she will prioritize their friendship over any man. Colin puts his journal in a desk drawer and Ray bids him good night. Colin asks Penelope for a blanket for the sofa, taking one and leaving. Penelope finds Colin on a sofa, telling him she's having tea with her mother before Francesca's wedding to spare him a shared carriage. Colin retrieves his journal and letters reflecting on Penelope's correspondence. Mrs. Varley informs Portia that Walter Dundas has returned. Walter questions the money Portia inherited from her Aunt Petruna, suspecting it came from Jack's activities. He plans to submit his finance to transfer the title. Penelope overhears and confronts Portia, leading to an argument about their actions. Portia admits she was protecting the family, while Penelope protected herself. Portia regrets overlooking Penelope and acknowledges they've both done their best. Penelope resolves to use her power wisely as Lady Whistledown. Violet finds Francesca preparing for her wedding, and Francesca reassures her mother, promising to visit often. Violet praises Francesca's bravery and cleverness, sharing her own experience of finding her voice. They hug, and Francesca expresses hope that Scotland will help her know herself better. John and Francesca exchange vows with their family and close friends present. Minister Hughes pronounces them husband and wife. Eloise asks her siblings if they notice Marcus's interest in their mother, and Benedict and Colin support Violet's happiness, while Francesca notes Eloise should be grateful for the distraction. Marcus and Violet agree to share a dance at the next ball, with Marcus expressing his admiration. John toasts to Francesca, praising her and her family. Francesca invites Violet to play a duet, moving Penelope to ask Colin for a private conversation. Colin plans to talk to Benedict about paying off Cressida, but Penelope refuses, not wanting to deceive his family. She asks Colin to love her for who she is. Colin, realizing he can't separate Penelope from Whistledown, admits his admiration for her bravery and success. Penelope goes home and starts writing. Brimsley hands the Queen a letter, which she reads, and Violet reads a letter and calls Colin over, mentioning it's from his wife. He urges her to sit down. Penelope retrieves money from under her floorboards and puts it in a pouch, which she then gives to Mrs. Varley, who accepts it happily. Cressida and Lady Cowper sit while Aunt Joanna and Lord Cowper talk nearby. Joanna complains that the house being too warm is what caused Cressida's behaviour. Lord Cowper blames it on his wife, and Lady Cowper quietly tells Cressida she forgot how terrible Joanna is. Cressida declares she won't go anywhere with Joanna. Lady Cowper says she has no choice, shocking Cressida. Joanna has Cressida stand and present herself. Benedict finds Tilly in her room, and he likes that her maids just sent him up now. He kisses her and asks if Paula's joining them, and she thinks he's with someone else, so Benedict suggests inviting someone else. Tilly says she enjoyed their time together, but hopes it'll be just the two of them tonight. She admits she wants something more serious with Benedict, and Benedict says she's extraordinary but doesn't want something serious. She asks if it's because of Paul, but he says no. He realizes he likes feeling free. Tilly supports his wish, but warns him that constant merriment can get tiring. She thanks him for reminding her that commitment can feel good, and she leaves him. Benedict finds Eloise on the swings, and she says she feels like she's swinging without going anywhere. He asks where she wants to go. She wants to stay with the family until the Lady Whistledown situation blows over. He reassures her it will and asks what comes next. She spent most of her life in Mayfair or at Aubrey Hall, and to change the world, she needs to see more of it. Benedict thought she was trying to fit in this year, but she thinks she's done with that. He says the more he learns, the more he realizes what he doesn't know. Eloise agrees, even though she doesn't understand. He doesn't want too much time to pass before they meet again to figure things out together. Prudence expects to be disappointed by the ball, and Harry assures her Miss Varley did her best. They enter with Albion and Philippa and are amazed. Miss Varley has delivered everything they asked for, and Philippa asks Mrs. Varley about one particular thing, and Miss Varley confirms they got it. Portia enters and Philippa thanks her, assuming she paid for everything. Portia takes the credit, and Penelope explains it's Portia's wish for them to have the best ball in Mayfair. Portia is proud of her daughters, and Portia tells Penelope that it fits their last night in society. At least Prudence and Philippa are enjoying it. Prudence gasps as the Queen enters, drawing everyone's attention. Prudence apologizes for not having the perch ready, not expecting the Queen. The Queen says she didn't come because of their invitation. She orders the music to stop and announces she received a letter from Lady Whistledown asking to address the ton and plead her case before the Queen passes judgment. He gives the stage to Lady Whistledown, and Albion sneezes and the Queen says it's not him. She points to Penelope and says it's her. Everyone looks at Penelope, who steps forward. Penelope acknowledges that what she did was serious. She initially thought no one would take her seriously because no one ever had. She realizes now many ladies feel the same, and she wrote about them because their lives fascinated her, giving her a sense of power, but she was careless with it. She understands the courage it takes to live openly and acknowledges everyone's worth. Gossip, she says, is information that forges bonds, but she can't hide anymore and is grateful to the Queen for her cunning scheme. If allowed to continue, she'll be more responsible, and the Queen says Penelope seems humbled and they'll be watching her. She asks what life would be like without a little gossip and leaves. The room buzzes with conversation, and Philippa tells Mrs. Varley to release the bugs, and butterflies fill the room. Prudence is amazed, and Albion dances with Philippa and Harry with Prudence, and Mrs. Varley watches with tears in her eyes. Penelope watches a butterfly on her hand, and Lady Danbury quotes her speech and says the Queen was close to guessing Whistledown was a Bridgerton, but Lady Danbury knew it wasn't one of them. Only Penelope loves the Bridgertons more than she does. Penelope realizes Lady Danbury knew it was her. Lady Danbury looks forward to the next issue and leaves. Portia calls Penelope a wonder, and Penelope says she couldn't have done it without her mother's support. Now, with the Queen's support, they can tell Walter Dundas that the money came from Penelope's writing, giving them time to improve. As Portia walks away, Penelope sees Colin approaching. He thanks her for the letter, saying Violet was shocked and impressed. He thinks Violet is proud. Penelope says she wouldn't object to an annulment if he wants one, not wanting to harm him or his family. Colin reminds her the Queen accepted her, and Penelope is concerned about the future. Colin says he realised she is Whistledown and he doesn't want to separate them. He found her speech brilliant and is envious of her success and bravery. He feels lucky to love her. She tells him she loves him and he is a good man, and they dance together. Francesca stands with Eloise observing the happy couples. Francesca asks if Eloise is happy, and Eloise is excited about an idea. He wants to go with them to Scotland to have adventures and see more of the world. Francesca agrees as long as Eloise stays in her wing of the castle. John overhears and asks what it's about, and Francesca explains, and John says it's wonderful news. He introduces Michaela Sterling, who jokes that everything John has said about her is a lie. Michaela asks Francesca for her name, and Francesca introduces herself. Cressida leaves in a carriage. Benedict tells Eloise he'll miss her, and she says it's only until next year, as Violet won't let her miss the masquerade ball. Benedict will be there, avoiding eligible ladies. Eloise promises to join him in hiding, and they hug, and the Bridgerton sees John, Francesca, Michaela, and Eloise off on their journey. Penelope, Prudence, and Philippa look fondly at their babies, and Prudence is amazed that Penelope had a boy, the heir. Violet finds the new Lord Feverington quite handsome. Colin says he gets that from his father, and Penelope says his father distracts people with his clever words and a smile. Philippa is glad she and Prudence had daughters, and Portia is certain their daughters will marry well. Philippa thinks Philomena will be a great writer without needing a husband. Colin says that runs in a family, as he couldn't have written his book without Penelope. Gregory finishes Colin's book, Travelling with Myself, and says it was better than expected. Benedict takes it and asks if he's old enough to read it, which Gregory insists he is. Hyacinth enters the room with a stack of papers, handing out the latest Whistledown, now written under Penelope's name. That's it for the Bridgerton recap. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.